Hi everyone, Agnes here. Welcome to the first interview in a very long time, and this is going to be a very special one for you. I'm going to welcome Corrina to the call. Hello, Corrina.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good to see you again. And wow, this is an amazing story, an amazing timeline of when it, started, when I first met you, and the progression and the amazing result that you got. So just tell people where you're normally from and where you are.
Okay, so I'm from the UK usually, and now at the moment I'm in Italy. You can probably
Yeah.
see in the background Italy.
Lovely.
I'm
Lovely.
in Perugia right now in Umbria, so I'm
Beautiful.
sitting. I thought I'd do this call from my little manifestation spot where there's a
Yeah.
really nice horizon.
Yeah.
So I can show you the story as much as tell you.
Yes. So let's go back on the timeline
Okay.
when things were at the very beginning of, you were trying to do something. Start there.
Right, the beginning. So me and my person, we'd known each other for a very long time, and there was always a very immediate, like, oh my God, you're a very important person to me. I always had this sort of feeling that he was like my person, really. And and so did he. But the thing is that there was always something in the way. There was always wrong timing. There was always some kind of reason why it didn't work. And we spent a lot of time apart. I mean, there was years in between sometimes we'd be apart. And at this time, I didn't know anything about like manifestation, didn't know anything about how my mind was creating anything or any of it, or my unconscious mind, or, my assumptions. And I didn't know what my part was in this. So I think my manifestation journey started a lot later than when we met. So we'd kind of be on and off for years, literally years. There was always something in the way. And then we finally got together again. And I wasn't really expecting anything to come of it. I kind of met up with him and thought, might as well see what these feelings are here and why they're still about and what's going on here. But then it was great. It was amazing. But then something else happened. He took a job at the other side of the world. And I was, just devastated and like, why? And I couldn't understand. And I was like really clutching on to him and it and us, and, really didn't understand why we'd had such an amazing, amazing time. And, we'd been together during the lockdown. So we weren't together for that long. It was literally like, 1 or 2 months of just a beautiful time. And then it just suddenly ended. And I knew it was going to end because the story I had of him in my head was he always goes away. Like he doesn't stick around. He's this kind of person. The story that I'd created of him for such a long time was what was still playing out in my head when we met again. So I kind of, manifested it before it even began, really. And then so I just thought, oh my God, what am I going to do now? What am I literally going to do? I was sort of heartbroken and, didn't know what to do with myself. And so I decided to just go and take some time for myself and come to Italy and just be here in Italy. And we were talking quite a lot at that time, weren't we? And I was really low and what I'd started doing is looking at videos on YouTube, and I'd had lots of conversations with you and I didn't quite get it. So I did lots and lots of research about, how my brain was creating things, how my thoughts were creating things. And I started to really, really understand it. And it got really exciting because I was like, oh my God, I've got so much power than I thought. Like, I just really got excited about this idea of actually having more control than I'd ever realized before. And then things clicking into place, like, oh, that's why that happened. That's why it didn't work. That's why, and so it was kind of like started to re-engineer the way I was thinking, and, did a lot of affirmations, loads of affirmations. And you know what I love about manifestation is that now, okay, so the end of the story, just to save people some time, and we'll get there and how we got there, but the end of the story is that now we're together and he's here in Italy with me, and he's not at the other side of the world anymore, and he's not with someone else, and you know, there's no one else in the way, we are together. That is the end of the story. But you know, the journey to get there, little did I know that it would be such a beautiful journey, like back to me, you know, back to myself. Because you know what's interesting is when people say, oh, why do you want to, people who haven't really grasped the concept of what we're doing with manifestation, they'll say, oh, why do you know, you deserve better, why do you want that person, like what, you know, why are you trying to manifest a specific person? But really what I've found is that actually the journey has been incredibly healing for me, and it's had it you know, the conversations I've had with you and stuff, and just going into yourself and like looking at your beliefs and like where they've come from, and like healing parts of yourself that you didn't even know were creating all of this stuff, and actually creating a relationship with a specific person is a challenge, because it really brings you back to loving yourself again. And like, you know, the relationship with him is amazing and stuff, but it is totally what they say is a reflection of me loving myself. You know, it's an extension. What he says is like an extension of ourselves. It's an extension of us. It's like yeah, it's a really beautiful journey to go on when you're manifesting a specific person. And I didn't realize it at the time, you know, because when you're sitting there missing someone and you're in lack and you're in the obsessive part of it, and you're like, oh, I just want them to be here, and you're crying and you're sad and you're low and all that, you don't realize that actually you're going on a really important healing journey. And it's only when you come across these conversations and these people, and you know, that open your eyes to what you're actually doing by feeling all the pain and allowing it to come through and out of you. And you know, it's actually an embrace the journey moment, really. And you don't realize it at the time, I think, until you start accepting where you are.
So okay, so he was in another country. You said, screw this, I'm going to Italy, and you spent a lot of time on your own there. So what happened after that? How did you reconnect, or were you talking? Were you not talking? What was going on at that point?
I mean, we were talking for a little while. So we were still sort of saying I love you for a while, but it felt very uncomfortable for me, because I was sort of like, but you're over there, and like, I don't understand this relationship. And it wasn't right. It just wasn't how I wanted it to be. So at Christmas I said, I can't do this anymore. I've got to like, we've got to not talk anymore. And because I sort of felt like I was in the wrong momentum with creating things that I didn't want with him. I was sort of like just anxious about, you know, him being there when he was coming back. Like, I was creating more distance and I was creating more stuff just because that's the momentum that I was on. And so I said, stop. We just got to stop. Like, let's stop. I need to not talk to you. And we had to just stop talking for a bit. So it was it. That was it. We were not together anymore. He was there, and we left it up to. He would say things like, "I know we're going to be together. So like, I don't know what you're worrying about, but I know we're going to be together." And I'd be like, "But we're not.
Yeah,
we're not." Like, I'd say like, "Why are you saying that? And we're not together? That's really stupid." Like, and I didn't understand. It was really confusing because it felt like he was manifesting me. And he was totally sure and calm about it. And I knew that he was totally chilled and like having a great time and like living his life. Whereas I was still like missing him and thinking, why are we not together? And he was sort of, I think the thing is, like many times where we nearly got together, he wasn't, when I look at it, he just wasn't, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready and he wasn't ready. And me not being ready was creating him not being ready. And I didn't realize that I actually wasn't ready. And there were lots of reasons for that, like me not really knowing how to love myself, not really knowing how to hear. I'm ready to be with you, not really knowing, not being a normal thing for me in my life and my relationships with my dad and all these lots of things that I had not healed and stuff. And it was reflecting in him not being ready for a relationship and to be committed and stuff. And so anyway, we weren't talking talking from like January. And I just let him go. I don't remember thinking like, give him like, you know, this is going to be really difficult because he'll probably meet someone else and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he did, of course. He did. He met like someone else, and then I thought, but you know, I knew that he might meet someone else, but I did just roll my eyes at it and think, here we go, right, this will last 5 minutes. He's not going to end up with her. I just know he won't. And I knew really honestly that it was a nothing thing, and I didn't really give it any attention. And I remember talking to you about it and you being like, literally, don't look her up, do not give it any power, do not she's nothing. Like, not, you didn't say she's nothing, but you said something like, when you even entertain this other person, you're making them in your mind more important than you.
Yes.
And that's not the case. So I decided, and I still to this day don't even know what she looks like. I don't know what she looks like. I don't care. And I just decided, well, you're not me, so just bye, in my head.
Yeah.
And so he was seeing someone else for a bit, and I heard sort of little whispers from people that we were mutual friends with about things, and I just rolled my eyes at it and got on with my life. And basically, long story short, then 5 months later we started speaking again. And you know what's crazy is that we had booked a flight to go back to England on the same day, unknowingly.
Wow.
What the hell is that about? We like booked a flight to go back to England on the same day. He was coming back from literally 24 hours away, and I was coming back from Italy on the same day. And so we were both back in England, and then of course it was kind of like we were talking a bit, like, you know, I can't remember actually how we started talking. It was nothing big. It was no like declaration of love or like crazy stuff. It was just like, I think he sent me a picture of the room that we used to stay in, and said something like, do you recognize this room? Because it had all been done up. And I was like, he misses me, he definitely misses me. And he kind of like, then a new momentum was created and a new kind of like story was created. And I'd spent all that time, 5 months on my own, telling myself that I was amazing and I was secure and I was like loved and I was valuable, and I was, you know, I'd spent all this time like, and at the time, honestly, I did not know if it was working or doing anything. I really didn't. I did, you know, have sometimes where I'd like do all the affirmations and do the visualizations and stuff and not really know what was going to come of it.
Yeah.
And felt like, oh, everybody's saying this is really easy, but it's not. This is like me changing my whole brain. And like, I remember it being really, really difficult to like do those affirmations and stuff, and not do the affirmations because it actually did feel better. You know, I did feel good doing those things. I used to sit here and like look out into this horizon there and feel, you know, I just find it such a peaceful thing when you've got a really, really nice view and you just feel at peace. Like, it just makes me feel calm. I think there's a saying in Italian which is like dove spazia la vista, spazia la mente, which means, basically translates to, when the mind is clear, when the eyes can see, that the mind is free, or something, something like that. When the eyes are free, the mind is free. And I used to sit here literally and just be like, just feel. I used to get these big moments of like relief and feel like, I know everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be fine, and like really feeling into that, like everything's going to be fine. Like, I know I deserve everything. I know I deserve like love. I know I deserve, you know, all of it. And you know, I did a lot of stuff as well. Like I to distract myself from feeling like, oh my God, I miss him and I wish he was here, and why isn't he living with me here in Italy, and all of this. I used to do my music, like my songwriting, and I was making travel videos. I was making videos, just doing things that I really enjoyed, you know, that made me feel like me, and you know, with or without him, like writing songs. I've got a song actually coming out which is all about like my eat, pray, love journey in Italy. You know, it's kind of like I went to Italy and like wrote a song about like my journey back to me, you know, finding happiness without anything else apart from just me. Because, you know, bearing in mind when I was here, there was nothing going on. It was the pandemic. Everything was shut. It was a silent retreat. I was literally, you know, on my own, really, like just being with myself, which might have driven some people insane, but to me, I felt like it was a needed time, like being just with myself, you know, to like reconnect and stuff. And it was a beautiful opportunity to have. And I think sometimes it did go a little bit crazy, like all of these new thoughts, all of these new assumptions that I was trying to create that were not really totally in line with me and stuff. And then, you know, at the time, and then just powering on through them and stuff, and it feeling very confusing at times. But I mean, so I did lots of like you know, affirmations about how I wanted to feel him, the new story of him. He's completely committed to me. He loves me. There's nothing that he won't do for me. We're so happy together. I'm so grateful for this beautiful relationship that keeps getting better all the time. I could feel it. I could feel his love for me all the time. You know, I knew he loved me. I just did. I just knew that we had this love together that was really powerful and really important. And I think also like one of the main, sorry if I'm just like talking.
No, talk. It's good.
Okay. But I think one of the main things, you know, the biggest shift in the whole process, I'm sure of it, is when, you know, I think we had a conversation where you were just shone the light on this whole thing of not needing anything from him, like not trying to get something. It was like, are you trying to get something, or are you unconditionally loving? Like, because that's the purest like way to give this love that you've got for this person. Like, and every time I sort of found myself wanting to get something from him, wanting a text message, wanting validation, wanting like something from him, wanting that approval, that certainty from him, I'd be like, I'd just have to go into myself again. And I just should say, for anyone who's watching this, who's manifesting a specific person, like this is even more important when you're with them, I think, because like when you're with them again and they're there, and then you realize that, oh, there's still some wobbly bits here where I'm like needing more from him. I'm needing more. I'm like, you know, wanting more. You have to, I still have to keep doing it, keep reminding myself, no, I don't need him to do anything for me. I'm not trying to get anything. I'm just allowing him. And that is, to me, a total game changer in relationships altogether. Because it's like, you know, I look back and I realized that every other time that we've been together, I've been complaining about something or wanting more, or having these long conversations about how things should be, or you know, having long conversations about how I wanted him to be a certain way or understand me better, or all this stuff that I was doing before. And when I let all of that go and let him just be who he is, you know, just let him love him for who he is, and just allow him to be there, and allow things to naturally unfold without trying to mold it or change it or make it anything. Honestly, like the way that we love each other is a completely different level now. It's so cool. It's really, really nice because it's so much more free. We just have this more organic, like natural ease with each other. And he said to me as well, he was like, it's really different this time, isn't it? And he doesn't know, you know, he's not thinking about these things really deeply. He's like, we don't have any of those long conversations anymore, which is really nice. And I'm like, no, because I'm not like hounding you to be a certain way, or like trying to change him, or trying to say, oh, I don't know how to be myself, or stuff like that. You know, it's yeah, it's really nice, and it's easier to trust, you know, because you're really trusting it. I'm really trusting myself more.
And I think, Corrina, it's like you mature as a woman or a man, you know, because there's two people in it, where you stop looking at the relationship as what's he giving me, what's he doing for me, and you look at what can I give to this, how can I understand more, how can I listen better. You become more mature because you've got out of that child parent dynamic that you were in previously.
Totally. And that was I mean, looking at my relationship with my dad as well was also a part of this, like, you know, really understanding, because my dad moved away when I was 5 or 6 or something, and I had always been trying to get his love, I had always been trying to get his validation and approval, and I think I had gone on quite a journey with understanding my dad and understanding, you know, that he's a human, and you know, that was one of the biggest shifts in my relationship life, really, like when I really accepted my dad for who he is and allowed him to love me the way he does, but also set my boundaries about what I was willing to participate in, you know, conversations that I didn't want to participate in, I just stopped doing, and stopped needing to be right, stopped needing to, you know, like prove my point, stopped needing to explain to him why he needed to change, you know, like, and that made our relationship, my relationship with my dad is like so much better now, like completely transformed, because we had that moment where we were both like, okay, I accept you as you are and I love you as you are, and we went through a lot of turmoil to get there, really, but that was proof to me that relationships can completely change. Completely. The dynamic with him went from quite toxic, really. We'd always argue, we'd always try and, you know, prove each other wrong or be right, or, you know, it was quite controlling. But then now it's like he's just lets me be free. He's so proud of me. We're very loving towards each other. We ring each other like very often. We're so supportive of, you know, he lives in Australia and I live here, but like we're so more connected than ever, really. And that really had a big impact on my relationship with my person as well, because, you know, I understand that allowing someone to be who they are is the most loving thing you can do, really. And and it gives me the space then to be who I am, because I'm not so worried about changing another person. I'm like, I've just got to worry about myself and, like, you know, focus on myself, and it creates this really comfortable sort of distance with each other where we've got the space to just be who we are and what we are. And it's not so codependent. That's the thing. It's not that codependent dynamic.
And I think you get to a point where you mature around law of attraction and you stop using the law of attraction to make the person be the way you want them to be. Because you know, like if you just radiate love to someone rather than they're always doing this for me and they're always, you know, loving me and they're always, it's like, I think that's very kindergarten law of attraction usage, and most people start there, but as you do the work on yourself, you realize that everybody is you pushed out. So if you change you, like you said, I started working on my affirmations, I started working on my imaginal scenes, my self-love, and then the relationship with your dad transforms, the relationship with your lovely partner transforms, because they were all an extension of you before and they are all an extension of you now, the you that gets this. So it's brilliant.
And also it's really interesting to me as well, like the more I find that the more that you can love yourself, and like, you know, this is like so cool for like any relationship that has been toxic in the past or whatever's gone wrong in the past, the more you feel love towards yourself, the more love you see within the other person. So like I just feel like I have an even more deep sense of love and connection to him now, because I'm seeing all of this stuff that I didn't see before. Like, I'm seeing the depth of his character. I'm seeing, like, you know, his passion for things, and his love for his family, and, like, you know, all of these beautiful things that I love about him that maybe I just sort of like brushed over or not properly seen before or something, or like been too busy trying to get his love that I hadn't actually been looking at why I loved him in the first place, you know. Like, it's really, really interesting how things change so much whenever you really look at yourself. And like, I think before he went away, honestly, I just hadn't understood. I knew about the law of attraction, like, very much, because I'd manifested lots of things before, you know, like sort of the not easy things, but things that, like, money, or like, you know, jobs, or, you know, I'd done little bits of, I knew I'd manifested him to come back to me, or manifested a text message or whatever, lots of times, but never the sort of depth of, like, understanding, like, why it was happening, or understanding my brain, my assumptions, and how I was creating my life around me in these situations and stuff. But I mean, it's just, it still is for me a really, really amazing journey. And just so, honestly, just so cool, because I was like, you know, it seems so impossible, you know. I think it's sort of like hope for anyone, because that, honestly, sitting here, like, feeling really low, crying, feeling like he's literally at the other side of the world with someone else. I'm not talking to him. I don't know when he's coming back. And it was like, what, how and when and why would this ever happen? Like, you can't see the answers, and that's in a way a beautiful thing, because it's like, well, if you knew all the answers, it would be very boring. And, you know, embrace the uncertainty, because that's where all the surprises come from. But like it was really difficult to see how that would unfold. And I think the trick is just having that real solid belief, like, everything's unfolding exactly as it should all the time. You know, everything's coming to me exactly as it should all the time, and trusting no matter what form or way that comes in is going to be right in the right time. But, you know, another thing that was really cool is, like, you know, the conversations with you, that, like, when you talk to someone who really understands what you're going through and doesn't judge you, or you know, so conversations with you really, really were really, really helpful. Really, really, really I say really a lot, but like also I had a friend here, like, so I stopped talking really to, like, when I talked about this to anyone, I only talked to people who really got it and understood, because then otherwise you get all this negative energy and real, like, old story stuff coming in from other people. And I had so much fun talking about this with one or two, like, really good friends who really love law of attraction and stuff. And it was just such a fun way to create stuff, like co-creating with someone. So my friend, she'd say to me, right, I've put you and Johnny on my wedding list. She's not engaged or anything, but obviously she's like, but she's so funny. She's like, I've put you and Johnny on my wedding list, and obviously you're coming together, because obviously you'll be together. And she's so funny, and, like, we used to just have so much fun with, like, you know, these imaginations and things happening. And then we talk about a double date that we'd go on, and, you know, and then, you know, literally we went on the double date when he got here. And you know, it's just really, really fun to create with someone, and, like, help them create things as well, and watch them unfold. And it just solidifies your belief in, like, you know, what we're talking about, like, actually works. And
for sure, it helps, because you do lose your footing, and you know, you get wobbly legs, because you do have difficult days, or something happens, or nothing happens for a long time, and you do lose your hope. So
definitely. And that's something that I really felt a lot of when, you know, I went through a phase of I don't do this anymore, but I did go through a phase of, like, going on all the forums and the chat rooms and the, you know, manifestation groups and things. And I get really disheartened. I get really hopeful and then really disheartened, because I'd see loads of things happening for other people, and I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. But then I'd be like, this is taking ages for me. Why is it not happening? Literally nothing's happening. You know, and I feel really disheartened by that. And I think, I don't get it. I just don't get why this isn't happening for me. And I remember sort of really, really feeling like that and thinking, wow, my success story is going to be really cool, because this has been really hard. And, so anyway, when we, I guess I didn't really say, like, when we started speaking again, you know, it really seamlessly fell into place. Suddenly we were like, I was at his family house with his whole family, who sort of welcomed me with open arms again. And there was no questions about whether or not we were together or not. It was like, we're obviously together, and you know. And then we went to Dubai. Right, this is where the universe is very crazy, because like one of my favorite sayings is all roads lead to Rome, because no matter which way you go, still get to the same place. And I was not expecting for us to go to Dubai before we came to Italy. I wasn't expecting actually by then that we'd even come to Italy. I kind of let that whole manifestation go, because I'd been sitting here thinking, I'm going to sit here with him, and we're going to, you know, put a love lock on the bridge up there.
That's right.
And there's a video about that on my channel.
I'll put the link down below so people can see that, because that is a whole separate, really beautiful romantic thing. So,
and actually I used to sit here and think about sitting here with him. So when I'd be looking out there, I'd be imagining he's sat next to me, sat next to me, sat next to me. So then when he's here, I'm like, oh my God, it's so funny that he's actually here. But anyway, so we decided to go to Dubai to take a job for 2 months, because we wanted to do something and having a bit of an adventure and earn some money. So we went to do some teaching, but then the universe moved and 200 students got coronavirus, which was a disaster, and school had to shut down, and we had to leave. So we lost our jobs, and I was like, what should we do? Where should we go? And we couldn't go back to England because the quarantine was like, you know, nearly $2,000 or something. Or however much it was, so expensive. So we decided to go the other way around, go to Italy to avoid this quarantine, and thought, well, we should just stay there for a bit. And it just so happened that my old flat, where I'd been missing him and manifesting him and wishing he was there living with me, happens to still be free. So you know, we ended up living in my old apartment, where I'd just really wanted him to be there with me.
And where you did all that amazing work on yourself.
And you know, what was funny is that I'd be in the bathroom when I was there on my own. I'd be in the bathroom and I'd imagine that he was just behind the wall and he was in the other room. And I'd say, it's so silly when you think about, well, if anyone saw me now, they'd think I was insane. But I'd go, babe, do you want a coffee? And like pretend that he was there. And like, you know, do all this sort of silly stuff. And I didn't do it that much. But like in my head, I would imagine that he was just in the other room. And then, you know, I had a moment, I had a little teary moment where I was in the bathroom and I went, babe, do you want a coffee? And he went, yeah, all right then. And literally it happened. And I just suddenly started crying. And I burst into tears. And I was just like, he's here, I can't believe he's here. And then I was with him and he was like, what's wrong? What's the matter? And I was just like, I'm just mind blown by this whole thing. I'm just like, you know, I'm so happy that you're here. And he was just sort of hugging me and being like, I'm here now, it's okay. And like, it was really,
nice.
really sweet and like, you know, really, really nice moment. And it took me a few days to stop having these little teary moments of being so overwhelmed by the fact that I'd, you know, literally manifested the whole thing. Like, you know, it felt like I'd really created it all in my head because I'd imagined so many things that had literally popped into my reality. And I sat here with him.
It's surreal, isn't it? It's surreal.
It's the most surreal thing I've ever experienced. And then, you know, I also had there's another video on my channel as well about creating things by imagining taking a photo. So I'd imagine taking photos with him, specific photos. And imagine what they'd look like, where we'd be. And I've got all the photos now. And it's just so funny that I'm pictured them in my head like
Yeah.
snapshot.
Yeah.
And then I've got them now and I posted them on my Instagram, and it's just
That's
really
beautiful.
funny.
It's so like the manifestation and all of that's amazing. But I think there's something even more profound is that you realize,
Oh, still there.
oh my goodness, all that stuff I did that I thought wasn't really doing anything. It shows me, one, how much power I have when I focus and I am deliberate in my
Yeah.
focus.
Uh-huh.
And it's like no one can take that away from you ever now. You can use that, what you've done with this relationship, you can use this for everything, because you
I
now
know.
have a feeling of security within you that this stuff really works, and it's not
Oh my
someone
God.
else's success story, it's yours.
I know. And that is so true. It's honestly the most calming thing. It's
Yeah.
like, because now I'm thinking about other things that I want to create, you know, like in the future, like I would love to have a baby one day, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, there's things in the way, like I've got polycystic ovaries in the way, you know, they're not in the way. Nothing's in the way now. Because I'm
No.
like, I know that I can create anything. I know that I can create this financial security that I need. I know that I can create a job that I love, and that, you know, things that I've like a life that I really, really want, because
Yeah.
this seems so impossible, and it wasn't.
And it wasn't. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I have felt this sort of really calmness about anytime I think about something that I want. I'm like, oh, it's okay, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, rather than, you know, people saying, oh, it's done, and you thinking, is it done? Like, really, is
Yeah.
that true? You know, when
Oh,
people
yeah.
say, you know, when people say that, where they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's done because you want it, it's done. And I remember thinking, well, that would be really cool if that's the case. But like, I wanted some proof, and I guess that the whole point of it is not needing the proof, and like not, you know,
Yeah.
needing sort of security outside of yourself to know. But once you do create those little bits of confidence within yourself that you can create anything, you do become calmer, and then manifestation, I think, gets easier.
It does, exactly right, because you have a foundation that's in place now forever because of how hard that one was. And your story is similar to my story with my specific person. There was different countries, there was other people, there was like there was so much going on, and then there was work sewn in through that, and where am I going to work, and where am I going to earn money. It was so much going on for me and for you, but we focused enough to focus our way into what we wanted, and boy, oh boy, did we work hard. And when I was watching you, it was like watching myself again, because I knew the climb was very steep for you, but you were really consistent with, you know what, screw this, I'm just going to work on myself. And the pandemic and the lockdown for you was, I mean, you'd never say the pandemic's a blessing, but what you would say would be that you made an incredible leap within your own self within that time.
Yeah. And like, that was really comforting as well. Like those conversations that we've had over the last couple of years or something, when, you know, just knowing that I wasn't crazy for like wanting what I wanted, and having someone to talk to who'd been through a similar thing was, you know, like talking to myself, really. Like, you know, like you were sort of you're ahead of the, and it still is, because we still have conversations, don't we, about the relationships and how they are, and like how our people are,
and the maintenance and
you know,
totally. And you know what too, Corrina, you were me pushed out, that it's like I was looking back at where I had been, and it was, wow, she's working as hard as I was, and this is such a difficult journey, but it is so possible when you stop trying to change somebody else, when you stop trying to get love, when you stop all your needy texting, you stop your social media stalking, if that's what you do, and you pull in and you go, what's going on with me and what do I need to work with? And like you said, a lot of it's about the father, you know, it's the fathers for women, it's the mothers for men. You know, we have to go back and dig up the old bones and then deal with them.
And allowing yourself, that was a really poignant moment as well for me, when you know, because there's a lot of videos online when you go through the whole phase of being quite obsessive about watching manifestation videos and trying to learn everything. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of videos online about feeling good and always feeling good, and you must feel good to manifest what you want. Otherwise, you might be manifesting the opposite. It's
Yeah.
scary because then you're like, oh God, well, I feel awful. That must
Yeah.
mean that I'm manifesting the opposite.
Yeah.
And the thing is that that was not necessarily and definitely not the case, because like you said to me, you have to allow yourself to be conscious enough to feel all of the stuff that you're feeling.
Yeah.
Try, allow it to let it go, and then don't stay there. You know,
Yeah.
then go back into your affirmations, allow it to sort of come out of you and through you. And you know, when you release all of this stuff from your childhood and the old energy that's stuck within you, and you know, all of that stuff that's coming up because of the reflection of the situation is triggering it, like you allow yourself to free yourself of those things. So it's so important to actually feel them, and you know, be aware of the thoughts that you're having, because that's your freedom, really. That's the way out. It's through,
it's the way
not
out.
around.
Yeah, not putting over the top. Oh, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. And you got all this stuff bubbling underneath. It doesn't work.
And that's what creates all the resistance and stuff, isn't it? You know, like creating when you're forcing yourself to be happy and feel good and stuff, and when you actually have got stuff that needs to be listened to and acknowledged, it's like your body's going to go, no, I feel bad, listen to me, I need you to talk to me, I need to, like the inner child is sort of saying, please listen to me, I need you to, like, I need someone to listen to me, and like, you know, it needs to be loved and acknowledged. And that's the way that I found was really helpful whenever I was feeling really bad, to sort of let myself feel bad, and then not create the belief, oh no, this is creating something opposite to what I want. You know, because that's another thing, isn't it? If you believe that, then sure, then that might happen, but you just got to not create that belief, but allow yourself to feel everything.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's such a it's so like just the phoenix rising story. It's wow, it's like you've got two things to be amazingly proud of: the result you got in the relationship, but the journey of understanding and getting amazing insights into so many things about yourself, to now have the feeling of I'm secure and I am loved and I am wanted and I am a priority. But I did this through changing my inner world, then the external world reflected it back. I didn't do anything. You didn't do anything to him. You did the work, and then he came in because he must have felt the change.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
He says little things that make me know that that's the case sometimes, and I'm like, you know, I never say, oh, I did that, but like,
I did that. But
I sometimes think, oh wow, this is crazy, you know. But yeah, it's an ongoing journey. It doesn't stop when you're with the person. It just begins, because then, you know, when you're with the person, then you see where you're at, and you're like,
that's right.
That like you said to me, the beginnings can be turbulent, because you're still like, oh, I'm still wobbly about this thing, I'm still sort of thinking, still a bit anxious about this or that, or you know, and the old story is still there, and you a little bit, and you've got to sort of see where you're at to sort of iron it out again, and go back to yourself, and you know, it's a journey of like finding that calm and trust within. But like I say, I think it's an amazing journey to go on, to sort of really be devoted to just committing to something that you want, no matter what anyone says or thinks or whatever, and the situation, because you have to go into yourself and pull out all of the weeds so that the flowers can grow.
And I think they're one of the greatest teachers in your life of all time.
Definitely. I mean, like with Johnny, I mean, he's inspired so many of my songs. You know, he's been such a powerful influence on my creativity, on my personal development. He just has no idea. He's sort of getting on with his life, and he doesn't realize how powerful he's been for me. As much as I know I've been really powerful for him as well, you know, we've helped each other grow in many ways, and you know, it's been really, really fun
Yeah.
and difficult and, you know, challenging
Yeah,
and
all of it.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, that's
yeah.
so I am so proud of you, honestly, because I've watched this for how long ago did we meet? Be at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
At
It's
least.
been a while. I can't
Yeah.
remember now. Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like a
And
long time, doesn't it?
it does, but it's been so amazing to watch you really get it. Like it's to me that is the most satisfying thing to watch is someone who, okay, you have moments where you give up, you have moments where you go screw this, you have moments where you have doubt, you have moments where you go, do I even want this anymore? It's too hard. And you work
Oh,
through
definitely.
all that stuff. And that's why people go into addiction and drink and take
Yeah.
drugs, because it's too much. I get it. But it's like the people that persevere, the jewel that is at the end of this
Yeah.
is profound. It's profound. It's profound. Um, Give me 1 sec, Corrina. 1 sec. Someone's at the door. I'm going to pause the recording. Yeah. What was that thing you just said to me about what that saying? That's fantastic.
Well, you know, you take yourself everywhere you go,
Yeah.
and every relationship you have. So if you're going to give up on this one, why do that when you're just going to take yourself to the next relationship and create the same scenario and create the same beliefs and the same, so you might as well get what you want with the person that you want. Otherwise, history just repeats itself.
And you perfect yourself upon that person. I think Florence Scovel Shinn said that you perfect yourself upon someone, as in you deal with all the stuff that comes up, you process it, you curb all your bad habits, you let go of your addictions, you raise up your self-care and your self-love, and you become someone that is good to be in relationship with.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, as it's so true. I mean, like, as you change and as you shift, the world and the people shift around you. You know, it's a powerful thing to do, to go on this self-discovery and this healing, because you're literally changing your whole world and the people around you. You're doing everyone a favor. You know, you're doing it for not just you, but for everyone in your world. And
so great. Thank you so much for coming and sharing this, because this has been a long time in the making.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been a
So
long time.
don't give up story.
So don't give up. So for those people that would love to contact you, because you are now starting to develop you're doing all sorts of fun things, but you're now coaching, because now you've got this under your belt. I think the best people to go to for coaching are people that have done it, not people that are just talking about SPs, not people that are reading out of a book, people that are not only have done it, but are still in that relationship, I think make the best coaches. So you're now doing that. I'm going to put the links down below so people can find you, contact you. And
there's a video that I think I've put up recently about the love lock thing, you know, where I was like talking about creating in my mind, thinking, oh, I'm going to come here with him and we're going to put our initials on a lock, and then we're going to lock it in there. And he filmed it when we did it, so I've got that and I've put it in a little video. But
fantastic. I'll put the link to that one down below, because that's beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I'll put that down below.
We've got lots of, because we started our little travel vlogging channel as well, so we've got our little journey. It's quite
wonderful.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
Corrina, I'll put the link to that channel down below as well, so people can see where you've been together. Because it's lovely. It's lovely. Lovely.
Cool.
So is there anything else anything that you want to mention that you feel like you haven't said, anything to wrap up?
Well, I mean, I just think, like, anyone who's watching this, like, who's on the journey that you and me have been on, and that, you know, trying to manifest a specific person, or just wanting to feel okay again, you know, on a journey of like maybe separation or whatever. It's just a matter of just trust and know that things are unfolding exactly as they should. You must have been watching this video for some reason, you know. If you're ready, if you're seeing it, you're ready to hear it. And I think just keep going. And like, I mean, I really deeply know how hard it is when you just
Yeah.
don't feel like anything's happening,
Yeah.
and you feel like, is there any point in this? I mean, the point is you. The point
Yes.
is you. You're the point, and you're
Yeah.
and the lessons that you're learning along the way, you might even not know if you've learned them. You might not know if anything's happened, or if
Yeah.
you've learned anything at all, but you have, like, definitely, like, this
Yeah.
stuff about self-love is just the whole, you're just going to need it forever, so just do it now, and like,
Yeah.
embrace the time that you're apart, embrace the journey, embrace the uncertainty. There's so many amazing surprises to come, and like, it's true, it's done, it's all
Yeah.
done. You can
It's
have
so
whatever you want.
true. It's like the caterpillar in the cocoon, and it's in there and it's in there and it's in there. And then all of a sudden there's a little
Yeah.
crack, and then this amazing butterfly comes out. And that's what the self-love and all this work that we do does to you. You become the butterfly, and then you are free. The butterfly is a symbol of freedom. So you fly off, and it's like it's like then you can connect with everything that you incubated while you were
Yeah.
in the cocoon. And
Yeah.
you talking about the lock, you filming it with him, you going to Italy where you did all that heavy, hard, heartbreaking work in the same room, in the same town, in the same country.
Yeah.
It's profound.
Honestly, and when it looked like it was definitely not going to happen, because I packed up my things, left my apartment, left the country, and got another job in a different country.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it's not over, it's not, you just
Yeah.
don't give up, basically.
I know. Isn't it great when you can finally come back to, you've come full circle to this place, and you were
Yeah.
there on your own thinking, oh, I'm going to put this lock on with Johnny. You're sitting there on your own. You're sitting in this spot on your own. You're in that flat trying to process your inner child work, doing all this stuff. And then you come back full circle to him being there, him filming the lock, you being in the room with him and enjoying a meal or whatever, all the things you're doing.
Yeah.
It is so, to have that laugh and to have that, oh my God, it was all worth it in the end.
Oh, definitely. And also, like, what I've become really conscious of lately is like it being in the moment now, happening
Yes.
now.
Yes.
Like, when I was manifesting it in my head, it was happening now. It was still the same moment as now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
there's only now.
There's
So all the
only
things,
now.
there is all the things that you create in your mind, they're happening. They're there. You can feel good about that, because
Yeah.
when it comes into fruition, it's still the same moment. It's
I know. It's profound how everything just clicks into place. It just clicks.
yeah. But thank you so much for talking to me, like, all the time. I mean, not all the time, every time we speak. Every time we speak, I'm like, thank God for Agnes. It's like, I'm so grateful to have met you, honestly.
And I'm grateful to witness this, because it's not the easiest work. So when I witness someone that I've seen, from the moment, where they were crying or in pain, and then you see this coming out of the ashes, oh my God, it's like I feel like I'm reliving it again,
Yeah.
because it's so, and we get very close when we work together. You get to really know the person's heart.
Totally.
It's like I feel like you're a part of my life too.
Yeah, totally. It's such a beautiful thing to have that connection and relationship with someone who, we've never had a coffee together, been in the same, but like, we do really understand each other deeply.
We do.
So
we do.
It's been nice. That's why I'm really excited to do this coaching thing. And I've done coaching before about, other things, mindset stuff and music for young musicians. But I'm really excited to do it for this now that I have that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think when you've experienced it and you're living it, you are the best coach possible, because you are really still on the journey of continuing to apply it. But you've got that first bit out of the way. That's the first bit people are really trying to get to, which is, I haven't got my specific person and I still want them. So, and people think that's the hardest part. And it looks like it's the hardest part, and it is the hardest part from where you're standing when you haven't got them. But once you get to be with them, another whole journey begins. maintenance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. Well, beautiful. Thank you so much. Do you want to say bye to everybody? I'll say bye and then we'll say goodbye in private.
All right. Okay. Right. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. And thank you, Agnes, for having me again.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing your time. I hope everyone you got some good nuggets out of Corrina's story. I will see you in the next YouTube. I will put down below all Corrina's information so you can contact her, and I will see you soon.